store. You don't have to do that. Last year, there was a couple places that stayed. That store's open. The pizza guy right at the end.
I just went to the other trust for the first time. I just remember going with my friend used to see what I lived in Trinidad. Actually, we have two apps that we have.
It's better in Ocean Beach. But not even the kids would stop. It's just the end.
You know, it's hard.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
They make, you know what, they actually make a good chicken parm.
Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Islip Planning Board for a Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. Just for housekeeping, if you're an applicant, we remind you to please keep your presentation to 30 minutes or less. If you're a member of the community who would like to speak, there are these yellow cards in the back. Please fill one out on any of the public hearings and hand it up front. We'll call you during that public hearing. We ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Two adjournments. If you're here for item number 7 on the agenda, Feldfam Associates, LLC, that has been adjourned. And if you're here for item number 8 on the agenda, East Coast Imperial Properties, LLC, that has also been adjourned. Neither one of those will be heard this evening. Can I ask everyone to please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item on the agenda, site plan modification, public hearing, Jorge Arroyo Ramos, SP 2024-033, south side of Suffolk Avenue, County Route 100, 261 feet of Islip Avenue, State Route 111, Central Islip, 136 Suffolk Avenue. Applicant requests parking, landscaping, and buffer relaxations in connection with a change of use from an existing dwelling to a professional office. Good evening.
Good evening. Hope everybody is well. My name is Salim Abraham. I reside at 3663 Finley Lane, Bethpage, New York, 11714. Good evening. We're dealing with existing two-story dwelling that we want to convert to commercial offices. So far, we have on the plans 9 parking spaces and 13 parking spaces are required. Also, the area of the building itself, we have only 8 offices. They'll be privately owned, basically for accountant, IT personnel, and financial advisors. Everything today is remote, so basically each office we have only 1 individual, so that would be 8 individual into the building. So we have an extra parking space, total of 9 spaces. The 13 was required. We were able, with planning department, engineering, to secure 9 spaces. I'll be working with Tanner and the engineering department, and we also provided a revised site plan that allows us to require those spaces. Parking space is premium in Islip, so we had to engage ourselves into, reduce the buffer area to accommodate this parking space. The site also is located north of Long Island Railroad. So the buffering area was reduced from 25 to 6. And on the east side, because we have a residential area, we're supposed to have 25 feet of buffer area, and we were able to reduce it to 12.7 feet area for the parking space. So the reason for the reduce of buffering area is premium for the parking space. So if any question, I'm here to answer.
Thank you. I know Mr. Rulin has a question first, and then I'm going to go to the public hearing. Let me just, Mr. Rulin, before I go to you, does anyone here want to be heard on this? I don't have any cards. Not seeing anyone, I'm going to turn to Mr. Rulin, then to Mr. Gonzalez for a staff report.
Got it? Good evening, Mr. Abraham.
Yes.
One question, actually I have 2. Are there any open violations on that property now?
I believe the previous owner had the violations on the building.
Were they resolved?
We are in the process of resolving those objections.
What point are they at? Are they in court now or what?
Yeah, I believe we were part of the initial project years ago, and the owner sold the building, and the new owner hired us to continue the process. The original evaluation was because the space was already rented to a commercial area as owner, and he was using as, I believe, computer repair shop. And the town came up on him and said, listen, you have to legalize the space because the dwellings were supposed to be residential. So now we're doing commercial conversion to it. That's the purpose of the whole conversion area space.
To resolve that
Correct,
violation?
yes,
That's why this application's being made?
Correct, yes.
Is what-
So that was going for a very long time.
Okay. The other thing is, I think when I looked at the plan, coming out of the property, is there going to be a right turn only onto Suffolk? Because I think there's double yellow lines on Suffolk at that area.
Yes, on the revised plan, because we're having a long weekend, we propose a revised site plan showing that we're going to have one entrance, and the exit entrance will be turning on the right side on the Suffolk Avenue.
Okay. Do you have any
Have it here.
follow-up,
I'm
Mr.
going to go to
Friedland?
Mr. Gonzalez, and I have a couple of follow-up questions.
Okay.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is a business one zone, about quarter-acre property, currently improved with a 2,600 square foot, two-story structure. Originally CO'd as a single-family residence, constructed around 1937. The building is currently vacant but has a history of commercial uses dating back over 50 years. An application was brought to the Zoning Board of Appeals, that's case number 297-22, to reestablish this as a single-family dwelling in the Business One zone and obtain variances necessary for that use, but it was ultimately denied. The proposal before the board tonight is for a change of use from that CO'd single-family dwelling to professional office. The relaxations requested are for parking, landscaping, and buffer associated with that change of use. The building, per the applicant, would consist of 8 individual office spaces with a common conference area and restrooms. The basement would remain unfinished for storage only and conditioned as such. Per the applicant, although they don't have current tenants with leases, the offices would be for professional uses such as accountants, analysts, and IT hybrid techs, and have no more than 8 occupants, including employers and employees, with a typical hours of operation between 9 and 6. A total of 13 stalls are required, 9 are provided, which includes 1 ADA parking spot. But as previously mentioned, the cellar space is being conditioned as storage, so realistically that decreases the required parking. The buffer to the south, abutting the Long Island Railroad, is 6 feet with the exception of a 2-foot flare for the backup on the last parking stall. The buffer to the east, adjacent to a residential dwelling in the Business One zone, would be 12.7 feet instead of the required 25. Just for the board's own edification, it is basically paved to the property line right now, so that 12.7-foot buffer would be installed where it is not installed currently. A minor front yard landscaping relaxation is required, and staff would calculate if a mitigation fee would be assessed. Given the ZBA's denial for a single-family dwelling on this property and the predominant commercial character of Suffolk Avenue, the proposal does have merit, and staff would recommend the board grant the application subject to the attached conditions with other questions as long as the applicant could address them.
Just to follow up on Mr. Rulin's question, will this resolve the open violations?
It should. I don't know all the exact violations that are currently on the property, but the main one would be because of the commercial use that is not CO'd. So this action in itself is resolving that issue.
So it'll resolve that issue, and if there are any other open violations, the CO won't be issued until
Correct.
they're resolved. Is that okay? And those, when did you purchase the property?
No, the owner purchased property, I believe, 2 years ago.
Okay. The violations predate that, I would
Yes.
assume?
We'll confirm that, but most likely they predate that.
Are there further questions from the board? Mr. Moriarty?
Just one question. What sort of landscaping is going to be put up front on Suffolk Avenue?
Just some grade and some trees, I believe.
You could just pull the microphone closer to you when you
Oh,
speak.
sorry. We be basically a low vegetation on the front of the suite.
Okay, and Tanner, is there anything else we can do up front just to, I understand that the relaxation is needed to make this work, and obviously it's better than having concrete lining the entire property, but is there anything up front that we can request the applicant to incorporate into the plan to see if we can improve that?
Typically, they would do street trees 20 feet on center. They do have a, relatively nice lawn area in front of the building. Most of the front is the drive aisle coming into the property, but there is a little bit of space in front of the front entry, so they probably could fit a couple street trees up there.
The applicant have a problem with incorporating trees into the buffer in the front?
The owner, I spoke to the owner today, and he said to me, just accept whatever the engineering requires for the conditions.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Anything further from the board? Anything further from the applicant?
No.
Is there a motion? Mr. Moriarty, why don't you make that since you have the addition?
Yeah, I would make a motion to close the public hearing, Mr. Chair. Make a recommendation that we accept or approve the application as presented, provided certain adjustments are made to the front buffer, including the incorporation of street trees on the buffer on Suffolk Avenue.
It's a motion by Mr. Moriarty to close the public hearing and grant the application with subject to terms and conditions as well as covenants and restrictions, as well as adding street trees into the landscape along Suffolk Avenue. Second by Mr. Brown. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, the application is granted. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Second item on the agenda, site plan modification, Jacob Levy, President, SP 2024-047, west side of MJ Boulevard, 1,450 feet north of Suffolk Avenue, Brentwood, 70 MJ Boulevard. Applicant requests parking and landscaping relaxations in connection with an addition to an existing industrial building. Good evening.
Good evening. Allison LaPointe, Sir Tillman Ballin, Adler Hyman, LLP. For the applicant, our offices are at 100 Motor Parkway, Hopog, New York, seeking modifications of site plan and associated variances. This application was first brought to the board in 2021. We went back to the drawing board, made adjustments. We then received approvals in August of 2023. After working extensively with engineering since that time, some more adjustments were made to the property, and so we are here for those adjustments as well as some additional relief. We're now seeking to provide 142 parking stalls where 215 are required. 47 of those are proposed to be land banked with 95 installed. We do require landscaping variances, but we've added landscaping, so we're now more compliant than from the prior approvals. The site has a total of 120 employees that work across 3 shifts. The largest shift is from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. with a maximum of 56 employees and 46 cars. So with the total of 142 parking spaces with 95 installed, even at the largest shift, only half the parking lot will be utilized. The major reason for the differential between the required parking and what is proposed is that under the town code, you're required to calculate your office parking for 15% of the overall site, in which accounts actually for 100 of those parking spaces. If we calculated only for the office area that is existing, we would only require 24 parking spaces. So we would be code compliant if only calculating parking for the office use that exists. The reason we have the reduction in parking is that in consultation with the engineering department requested that we move the street side parking back 15 feet from the street. In doing so, it made the parking lot smaller, which resulted in parking spaces being eliminated in order to give a bigger green buffer to the roadway. And with that, if you have any questions.
Thank you. We have no cards in this. Anybody come in who wish to be heard? Not seeing anyone, I'm going to turn to Mr. Gonzalez for a staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This industrial one-zone, 6.5-acre lot, as the applicant's representative stated, is currently an industrial building that manufactures paper products, originally CO'd in 1967 with an addition the following year. In 1997, the town board granted a change of zone from the prior Business 3 to the current Industrial 1. And in 2021, the planning board granted an application for outside parking of unattached box trailers for an approximately 32,000 square foot addition, which also included parking and landscaping relaxations. The request before the board tonight is for a further parking relaxation and a formalization of updated overall and front yard landscaping numbers, which are technically increasing from the prior grant. 214 parking stalls are required to 142 provided, which includes 47 land bank parking stalls, so a little over 33% relaxation. The prior special permit was a little over 25% relief, and 161 were provided. So it's a net loss in about 19 parking stalls that are being provided on site. As the applicant stated, this stems from the originally proposed stalls that were going to be constructed along the perimeter curve of the property being pushed back from the street and land banked, and that change basically necessitated the removal of other stalls in standalone islands to ensure that vehicles had enough maneuverability around the site. There are 3 different shifts during the hours of operation, and at no time there are more than 52 people on the property with 46 cars parking on site. The overall landscaping is just under 10%. The prior application was about 9.5%. The front yard is about 6%. The prior application was about 5.5%. So both of those numbers are actually being increased from the prior grant. The proposed addition will also require the Zoning Board of Appeals approval, as it is an FAR of a little over 47% instead of the 35 allowed by code, and then a side yard setback variance of 4.5 feet instead of 10. So based on the above noted changes to the plan that were previously granted by the board, staff recommends that this application be granted subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you. Just one question either for Mr. Gonzalez or the applicant. All the aerial shots that I've seen show a lot of trailers there. I did not drive by the property. Where do we stand right now with trailers parked on the site?
If you could stand by for just 1 second so I
Sure.
can check with my client. So yes, there are approximately 20 trailers on the site at this time. The purpose of the addition that is being proposed is to have storage space for everything that's being utilized in the trailer. We did have a violation in the past, which there is a conditional discharge on. Once we got the initial application approved back in 2023, and again, as soon as we were able to get under construction and enclose the space, we will be compliant with the detached trailers as per the special permit granted by this board.
So once we grant this, how many, and the construction is done, how many trailers will be parked
I
outside at any one
believe-
time?
Well, once it's under construction, it'll be what's on the site.
After construction's over, once it's
Yeah.
completed, how many trailers will be parked outside?
There will be the eight loading spots which were permitted, which are screened.
So just those 8?
Just those 8. That is
Okay.
the
As long
goal.
as we got that on the record, I'm
That
okay.
is the goal.
Are there further questions from the board? Mr. Brown? Oh, Mr. Rulon?
Did you read the conditions?
Yes, we've
Separate.
reviewed the conditions. We are perfectly comfortable moving forward.
Okay, should we put part of the conditions, the trailer issue?
I think that's already incorporated in there. I just wanted them to state on the record that they're going to comply with that.
Fair enough.
Make sure.
Is there a motion? Mr. Rulon?
I make a motion to close the public hearing and grant the application, subject to conditions.
It's a motion by Mr. Rulon to close the public hearing, grant the application subject to the conditions. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Moriarty. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Your application is granted.
Have an excellent evening.
Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda, site plan modification, public hearing, Paul Batra, SP 2025-044, northeast corner of Brentwood Road and 2nd Avenue, Brentwood, number 1825 Brentwood Road. Applicant requests a parking relaxation in connection with the change of use from retail to personal service in an existing multi-tenant shopping center. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much, board members. We're just looking for some minor relief for a barbershop personal service in lieu of a stationery store that was there in 1966. Basically, we're just looking for a small relaxation in the parking lot that was already granted for Popeyes previously. So the whole difference came out to about 2 parking spaces based on the ratio. The ratio was changed from 1 to 175 to 1 to 150. And the variance is still 400 spaces, but the barber shop is only asking for 2 more in their relief.
Thank you.
Paul Batra, thank you.
Good. I have no cards on this. Did anybody come in later wish to be heard? Not seeing anyone, I'm going to turn to Mr. Gonzalez for a staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a Business 1 zoned, almost 14-acre property. It is 3 separate buildings. It has the main shopping center building with about 20 different units and 2 pad buildings, one of which being the Popeyes fast food restaurant that was granted by the town board under CZ 2023-004. As stated by the applicant, the project is for a simple change of use within 1 unit in the main building from retail to a barber shop, which is considered personal service. There are 1,007 parking stalls required on the overall site based on all the uses, and 607 are provided. The change in use only increases the requirement by not even 2 stalls. However, as the center is deficient overall, it was required to post for a public hearing. Parking relaxations have been routinely granted under prior applications, including the most recent change of zone. The parking calculations have also been corrected as multiple uses were using more strict ratios than actually required. So for comparison, the total required stalls for this application are actually 46 less than the change of zone that was granted previously by the town board. As no parking issues appear to be present on site, staff has no objection to the request and recommends the board grant the application subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Moreira.
Just one question, Tanner. Any violations on the property outstanding at the moment?
Not that I know of.
Nothing
Not that, I mean, I'm here dealing with the change of use only for the barber shop, but I don't think my application would have gone forward if there was any violations for any other.
Sometimes
spot.
gets this far with violations, so maybe we should confirm that, Tanner.
I can confirm that, but I don't recall there being any when I looked at the property card.
Yeah, again, I'm not trying to block it, but I know it's a minor adjustment, but I don't like us setting the precedent of approving requests from applicants if there are outstanding violations.
There's
That's
no
why I'm asking the
violations,
questions. Okay, if that's the case, that's fine. Thank you.
Anything further from the board? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Brennan.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to close the public hearing and make, I hear an echo.
That's right.
I'd like to close the public hearing, make a motion to grant the application subject to or based on Tanner's recommendation.
It's a motion by Mr. Brown to close the public hearing and grant the application subject to any covenants and restrictions. Is there a second? Second.
Second.
Ms. Cruz, all in favor? Opposed, abstentions, the application is granted. That was not her voice you heard. Next item on the agenda, planning board application.
Thank you.
Public hearing, Jake Leone at PB 2025-016, south side of Montauk Highway, State Route 27A, approximately 95 feet west of Union Avenue and 110 feet east of Monell Avenue, Islip 480 Main Street. Applicant requests a planning board special permit for a minor restaurant in the business district pursuant to 68-257.1A. Site plan modifications are also requested as part of the application. Good evening.
How are you? Thank you. Just to introduce myself, my name is Jake Leone. I am the founder and owner of Cement Coffee Company. Just to give a little background on what Cement Coffee Company is, we focus on serving specialty coffee and espresso-based beverages utilizing single origin, sustainably farmed coffee beans that are carefully crafted and made per order. All syrups and flavorings are made in-house with fresh, local, organic produce to complement a variety of seasonal specialty latte options. Cement Coffee Company will also offer fresh baked goods made daily out of house by a rotating list of Long Island-based bakers. Cement Coffee Company is an innovative, coffee-centric cafe designed for those who value high-quality, ethically sourced ingredients and crave a unique ambiance. Dedicated to sourcing locally, organically, and cruelty-free, Cement Coffee Company carefully selects every element on its menu, ensuring a guilt-free indulgence. The interior would reflect a balanced modern design, merging raw industrial materials like concrete, steel, with warm natural textures. Clean lines, sculptural furnishings, and minimalist decor create an atmosphere that's both striking and comfortable, making it an inviting space for a quick grab-and-go order or focused work. Intentional lighting and carefully curated art pieces foster a welcoming environment where creativity and inspiration thrive, offering an ideal setting for a grab-and-go or some work. There will be no exterior renovations planned for the building, but interior renovations is required to suit such operations, with hopefully approval for seasonal outdoor seating at the rear of the building. A parking relaxation is requested. I've looked into the other units that share the back parking lot at 480, 484, and 488 Main Street. After looking through the records, I have not seen that there was a parking relaxation requested for those units. I am unfortunately unfamiliar with the amount of spots those units are granted. But with the square footage of the parking, I feel like I'm only requesting one more, but based on the allowance of seating interior and exterior, I know that plays into account of the parking as well.
Thank you. I have no cards on this. Did anybody come in and wish to be heard? Not seeing anyone, I'm going to turn to Ms. Wozniak for a staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The property is located on the south side of Main Street, approximately 95 feet west of Union Avenue in downtown Islip, and it's improved with the small 550-square-foot single-story building. Tonight, the applicant's looking to open a coffee shop with 12 seats inside and additional 12 seats outside in the rear of the building. There's no exterior alterations proposed at this sign, except probably for some signage. This change in use only increases the required parking by 1.3 stalls from the previous office use, so no parking concerns are anticipated. Overall, the proposed use is consistent with uses generally supported by the planning division in downtowns and will contribute positively to the long-term sustainability of downtown Islip. So based on this, planning recommends the board grant the application subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? I just have one question. I don't know if it's for you or maybe just something to put on the record. I see you're showing 12 seats inside. Obviously, that'll be subject to any fire codes and the rest. I mean, it looks a little tight in there. Whatever.
Absolutely.
If you can fit up to 12, you can have them, but it's...
I'm definitely very flexible on the amount of seats that I'm approved to do.
Just wanted to make sure on the record.
Yes.
You've asked for 12, we're not necessarily approving the 12. You can have up to 12 if it meets all the other codes.
I'll make sure to fit.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Oh, Mr. Rulon.
What's in the rear? A parking lot or?
Yeah, so
I
all the
can't-
parking that's designated to units 480, 484, and 488 are all behind the unit. So you can enter through Monell or Union. So there's a formal two-way entry to that parking lot from Union, and then a one-way entry through the back there. So there's parking just behind the building unit, and then also a full parking lot back there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything further from the board? Is there a motion? Mr. Moriarty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd make a motion to close the public hearing, grant the application, subject to attached conditions and restrictions.
It's a motion by Mr. Moriarty to close the public hearing and grant the application subject to the attached conditions. Is there a second? Ms. Cruz, all in favor? Opposed, abstentions, application is granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, Town Board application, public hearing, Ocean Avenue Property Development LLC, CZ 2025-015, south side of Ocean Avenue, approximately 234 feet east of Gibson Street, Bayshore, 25 Ocean Avenue. Applicant requests designation of the subject property as a planned landmark preservation district pursuant to Town Code Section 68-449 and a Town Board special permit pursuant to Town Code Section 68-451.A3 to modify the requirements of the underlying Residence AA District in order to construct 3 attached senior townhouses. The applicant also requests a certificate of appropriateness from the Planning Board pursuant to Town Code Section 68-451.A2 for this proposal. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. J.R. DeCiccio with the law firm of Greenberg Churig, 900 Stewart Avenue, Garden City, New York, 11530. I am appearing tonight on behalf of the applicant, Ocean Avenue Property Development, in connection with its application to designate the subject property within the planned landmark preservation district. With me tonight, I have Ron Villano. He's the project architect, as well as Mr. Wayne Muller. He's our traffic engineer. I also have the property owner and applicant, John Buck. Mr. Buck, together with his wife, Pam, have lived in the Bayshore area for over 30 years, and he is the president of a local second-generation family-owned electrical construction company, which has also been located within the town of Islip for over 55 years. So the subject property is located along the east side of Ocean Avenue, just south of Gibson Street. It measures approximately 1.2 acres and is currently improved with a 2.5-story single-family dwelling, a 2-story detached garage, a cottage, a shed, and 10 boat slips. The existing home, which was built in approximately 1915, has been vacant and in a derelict state for nearly 20 years now. Recognizing the historic import of the home, the proposal before the board tonight seeks to restore the home to its original state with the input and direction from the Bayshore Historical Society. As you can imagine, the proposed budget just for the restoration work alone is close to 7 figures. Once restored, the structure in front will remain as an owner-occupied single-family home. To encourage and promote the restoration, which is the purpose of the planned landmark preservation district, the existing 3 structures in the rear of the property will be removed and replaced with one structure containing 3 age-restricted, owner-occupied townhomes. The zoning change will allow us to commit the resources and provide the regulatory framework to restore the existing home to its original features. Do we have, so you can, well, the board can't see, but the public can see. The townhomes are thoughtfully designed so that they will look like one house and are sited so to respect the existing neighborhood character. They will not be visible from Ocean Avenue. They will be located directly behind the main dwelling, and they will be heavily landscaped. The proposal is compliant with the town's subdivision and land development regulations, including parking, buffer, and landscaping, as well as the Town of Islip zoning code. Also part of the proposal, the number of boat slips currently existing at the property will be reduced from 10 to 6. 2 will be earmarked for the main house, 1 for each guest house, and 1 guest slip. These slips will not be rented like many of the slips are up and down Ocean Avenue. Given the proximity and walkability to downtown Bayshore, this is a perfect location for this type of senior housing. The proposal will not only help provide for a more diverse housing stock, but will also clean up a derelict home in a very desirable area of Bayshore, another goal of the planned landmark preservation district. Ocean Avenue, as well as South Clinton Avenue to the west and Maple Avenue to the east, are characterized by a mix of single-family residential, multifamily housing, and commercial uses. According to the town's LWRP, this area is the largest working waterfront in the town of Islip. This is obvious when you're looking at the aerial map. Nearly every home on the east side of Ocean Avenue has some sort of working aspect to it, whether it's rental slips, boathouses, or accessory dwellings. Mixed throughout the single-family homes on Ocean Avenue, you have commercial uses like the Atria Assisted Living Facility, the Ocean Bay Bed and Breakfast, Seabourn Marina, and Captain Bill's. PLP zoning is not a new concept for Ocean Avenue. Both the Atria and the Ocean Bay House share this designation. Before I turn it over to Mr. Muller, I would just add that this application is easily distinguishable from any other application that may attempt to use an approval herein as precedent. The size of the subject property, the fact that this house has been boarded up for nearly 20 years, and the estimated cost of renovating the existing building can all be used to distinguish an approval in the future. There are only about 4 other properties on Ocean Avenue that are large enough to support this type of application, and none of them have a derelict home on them. Moreover, based upon our discussions with the Bayshore Historical Society, we believe that this was one of the first homes constructed on Ocean Avenue, and is certainly the oldest existing home on Ocean Avenue, further setting it apart from each and every house on Ocean Avenue. In short, it is our belief that the application will restore and preserve a blighted historical structure, create a new high-quality senior housing product with immediate walkability to downtown Bayshore, and improve the aesthetics and property values in the neighborhood. So with that, I will introduce Mr. Muller, and he will run through the traffic impacts, or lack thereof.
Good evening. For the record, Wayne Muller with the firm of R&M Engineering. Our offices are at 50 Elm Street, Huntington, New York. At the request of the applicant, we prepared a very brief traffic assessment in regards to the subject application. That document was submitted to the board and made part of the record, and it's dated September 3rd, 2025. As indicated in our letter, we performed a traffic generation analysis of the proposed project. And in order to determine the peak hour and daily traffic levels associated with the proposed project as it stands today, we utilized the statistics presented in the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual, the 12th edition, which is dated August of 2025, so it's very current data. In order to estimate the traffic by both the single-family home and the 3 units of age-restricted housing, we utilized the statistics presented in that document. As indicated on page 2 of my report, we would anticipate during the peak hours for the single-family home, it would generate 1 trip during the morning peak hour, 1 trip during the PM, and 1 on Saturday. The age-restricted housing, the 3 units, based on the industry standard statistics, would generate, again, 1 trip during the morning peak hour, 1 trip on Saturday, 1 trip during the afternoon peak hour, and 1 trip on Saturday. During the peak hours, the proposed project would be anticipated to generate 2 trips in the morning, 2 trips in the evening, and 2 trips on Saturday. Based on the location of the property on Ocean Avenue, it is my opinion that the bulk, if not all, of the traffic that would be generated by this parcel would be going to and from the north, to and from Bayshore, and the local roadway network therein. As it stands, for the daily traffic that would be generated by the single-family homes, the industry standard statistics would estimate that the single-family home would generate a total of 9 trips per day, and the 3 age-restricted units would generate 12 trips per day for a total of 21 trips during a weekday. As indicated on the plans prepared by the architect that are to my right, the development conforms to the parking requirements of the town of Islip, so they're not going to be requesting any type of relief for the parking that's provided on site. And therefore, based on our analysis, we believe that the traffic generated by the single-family home in concert with the 3 age-restricted units will not create any significant impacts to traffic conditions in and around the downtown Bayshore area. In addition, based on my numerous observations of traffic conditions in and around the area, I have noticed that a relatively decent amount of people take the bikes to and from their homes within the area to the shops and restaurants within the downtown area, and that'll further reduce the level of activity associated with this project. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There'll be a public hearing section coming up. You'll be able to speak.
That's all we have for now.
That being said, we're going to turn to the public hearing. Mr. Brown will call you up if you filled out a card. If you did not fill out a card, please fill one out.
Barry DeLuey?
Barry DeLuey, 22 Mowbray Avenue, Bayshore, New York. I'm here representing the Bay Shore Historical Society in respect to the application of the Planning Board regarding 25 Ocean Avenue, Bay Shore. The Bay Shore Historical Society was formed in 1980 by a group of Bay Shore community members with the stated mission to preserve and share Bay Shore's history. In 1984, the Society was gifted with an 1820 house, which is moved to 22 Maple Avenue and became its headquarters. The Society has grown to the present over 200 members. The Society's officers, trustees, docents, workers are all volunteers in support of sharing Bay Shore's history. Excuse me. The Bay Shore Historical Society maintains a vast collection of memorabilia, historical documents, photographs, postcards, and pertinent printed materials of historical Bay Shore. All are available to the public for education and research. The museum is open from 1 to 4 on Tuesdays and Saturdays. An important aspect of the Society's work has become the preservation of Bay Shore's buildings in the community. Excuse me. Potential purchasers of buildings often come to the Bay Shore Historical Society to learn about the building's history and the past usage of the building. Excuse me. One such building is located at 25 Ocean Avenue. For much of the past decade, that main building has been fallen into disrepair in an unsightly manner. Early this year, the purchaser of the building visited the Historical Society to learn about the history of the building. According to a survey completed by the Society for the Preservation of Long Island History in August 1975, the home was constructed in 1915 and was the home of Mrs. Gertrude Stellenwerf. The Queen Anne-style house at that time was noted for two polygonal decorative towers, decorative brackets, simple classical columns on the porches. Mrs. Stellenwerf also owned many stores on Main Street. The purchaser of the house informed me during several meetings that he intended to restore the house to its original majesty. The Society, therefore, supports the application in regard to 25 Ocean Avenue. Thank you.
Jeff Vitaliata?
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to speak. I have lived in Bay Shore for 56 years, 53 years at our current residence on 82 Shore Lane. That's in the same district that we're talking about tonight. I have not made up my mind whether I'm in favor or against this application, but I asked the board if they agree with me that this whole landmark preservation district has both a positive aspect in trying to keep the older homes that are there and a negative aspect in sometimes you're inviting scrupulous people who want to simply make money quickly. If you get a lawyer, a person who knows a little bit about real estate, and a draftsman, you can come up with a presentation that could get passed, that could violate the principles of what the board is trying to accomplish. I'm very aware of that. That's why I haven't made up my mind yet. But one of the things I guess I should talk about, the things that occur to me, is the applicant a trustworthy applicant? Has the applicant owned the property for a while, or did they just buy it yesterday with the hope of making a lot of money by building 3 more houses on the property? I'd like to know who the applicant is, how long they have owned the property. I'd like to know more about the seller. In fact, I'm not even sure if the town owns that property or if it's in foreclosure, or if there's an individual that has owned that property that is now selling it. I think those things are all very important to know because whether this application is successful or not, and when I say that, I mean, will it benefit the community in the long run, has a lot to do with all of the things I just mentioned. We want to make sure that it's a person who really intends to preserve and enhance the historical property, and who's not just looking to make a quick amount of money by using the property. So it's very important to know all the things I just mentioned, and I hope the board understands that, and I hope they'll look into all of those things. I also wanted to say, I don't think that house has been unlived in and in disrepair for 20 years. I don't believe that to be true. It's correct that it hasn't been or that it has been?
Mr. Italiano, I'm just going to ask, because she's keeping a record, not to go back and forth.
Okay. Is my time up?
That's your time. If you want to add anything quickly, go right ahead. Thank you.
Jeff Retta? Jeff Retta? R-E-T-T-A? Peter Zent?
My name is Peter Zent. I live at 58 Ocean Avenue most of my life, and I've seen many deteriorations in the neighborhood and some good things that have happened, and attended many planning board meetings. And many times what's discussed and brought up tonight doesn't go to fruition in the end. And that's very important, and I know you're not the exact same planning board I've talked to before over the years, but it's very important that you hear what the neighbors are saying about a particular proposal and take that into consideration and make sure everything we bring up is taken, importantly. For example, Atria, the assisted living on Ocean Avenue. When we had the hearing for that, we talked about parking, and they said, oh, there'll be older people in there, will not be many cars. I live at 58, I live just across the street from the Atria, or part of the Atria, I live across the street. I cannot get out of my driveway because the employees of Atria park on the on Ocean Avenue, and I look, I don't see the traffic coming from the north. And it's just one of those things, and I just distinctly remember, don't worry about parking, it'll all be on site. It will not be on Ocean Avenue, but it's on Ocean Avenue. Parking lot 13, which is the beginning of Ocean Avenue. Now, this is when I was much younger. There was a beautiful house on parking lot 13. It's it's the first thing after the service road. And that beautiful house was put on a barge, taken around, and is now on Garner Lane in Okanee. And these are just things that the town makes changes or lets changes happen and destroy it for a neighborhood. Okay, my next thing is just really questions. Is the road going into this proposal a driveway or is it a road? Can someone explain the definition of what it is? I think a road has probably has different laws than a driveway. I'm not, so that needs to be discussed and looked into. So I'll be finished. The site plans, and the site plans say the width of the property is required to be 150 feet. and it says the existing property is 109 feet. I don't understand that looking at the site plans, where it says on the site plans required 150 feet, and the lot existing is 109 feet. So that doesn't make sense to me. And what is a certificate of appropriateness? I never heard of that. That's on the application also. And will these townhouses be rented or purchased? Those are my questions, and I hope are answered tonight.
Thank you.
William DeHaab.
Good evening. My name is Bill Dahab. My family of 5 lives at 74 Ocean Avenue in Bayshore. My family has lived in Bayshore for over 100 years. I'm third generation Bayshore schools, and my 3 kids are fourth generation. I'm here to speak in favor of the proposed townhouses and indeed in favor of more development in our walkable downtown neighborhood. Ocean Avenue has easy walkable access to a beach, playground, restaurants, businesses, the hospital, and the train to New York City. We love living there and wish more families could have the pleasure. It's exactly the kind of neighborhood that would benefit from upzoning plans such as these, and downtown Bayshore will continue to thrive the more families we allow to live there. There's a reason why walkable neighborhoods have higher rents, and that's because more people want to live there. The more dense housing we build, the more property values will increase, especially if the whole neighborhood is given the same right to build desired housing too. Many of my neighbors you'll hear and have heard want downtown Bayshore and Ocean Avenue frozen in time, only affordable to those fortunate enough to have already found a house or can afford to buy an aging house needing hundreds of thousands in renovations. So many people complain that their children can't afford to move back here to raise families, while simultaneously objecting to any housing that will allow them to do so. They object that they aren't against housing in general, just here, not against housing here, but these plans are inappropriate. Never mind that these plans preserve a beautiful Victorian home that otherwise could be torn down at any time to build a generic single-family home. There's nothing to stop that. There's always a reason to say no to more housing, and meanwhile, housing gets more and more expensive, and more of my peers can't afford a home for their family. My only concerns are that this plan isn't as dense as it should be, and the age limits continue to make it harder for families to enjoy our beautiful, diverse, vibrant community. These aren't limits by choice of the owners thinking they can maximize profits, but they come from a guessing game of what can approve despite what should be guaranteed property rights for everyone in the neighborhood. I'm concerned by the piecemeal upzoning where no one knows what their own rights are and has to guess what will be approved over the objections of the million-dollar homes next door. I support this plan as I would support the proposed plans of any of my neighbors to build more housing. I would support the plans of the town to upzone the entire area south of Montauk and north to the train tracks, and indeed north of that as well, to increase the vibrant, walkable community around us. I would push for the town to build more sidewalks. There's traffic concerns and parking concerns, but no one will narrow the street by building a sidewalk on the west side of the street where my children have to walk on the street to cross the street. We don't want less people to live on our street. We want more walkability, more bike safety, more actual action taken by the town to make our walkable, vibrant neighborhood livable for all. I'm in favor of upzoning Ocean Avenue, all of Ocean Avenue, all of the surrounding blocks, and all of downtown Bayshore. Thank you.
Robert Felt.
Good evening, folks. I recall a few of you from almost exactly 2 years ago when I spoke in opposition to Paul Annaboli's project across the street from me. I'm the guy that made the "we took one for the team" speech. I don't know if you remember that. First off, Councilor Ciccone, how you pronounce DiCiccio? DiCiccio. That's a complicated one. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, he actually made my point for why I'm in opposition to this, and he did it very artfully. His point is in stretching the truth about the working character of the east side of Ocean Avenue, that it's already tilted towards commerciality, so let's just go for the gusto and commercialize the whole street.
Can I just ask you to speak more direct to the microphone so everybody can hear you behind you? Thank you.
he tilted his speech towards the final commercialization of Ocean Avenue because it's predominantly commercial now and it's all a working neighborhood on the creek. That's total BS. The neighborhood tilts towards single-family residents heavily right now, and we've made the sacrifices over the years of rezones, which have at times been very helpful. I'm going to reiterate, taking it for the team real quick. I'm going to zip through this. We were in favor of the senior assisted living at that time. The waterfront properties weren't selling. Bayshore needed the tax assessment. The taxes went from $22,000 on the bank's estate to $198. I remember the numbers. Nice for the town's treasury. That's a good thing. The bed and breakfast came up. That was Donna Pericone's pet project. The assessment was inconsequential, but it was a good project for the town, so we took another one for the team, right? Kissed off another single-family property. Well, we don't want to take any more. I object to this for these specific reasons. And keep in mind, the lawyer's, John's, characterization of the neighborhood tilting commercial is very far from accurate. And that building was lived in as 12 years ago, 10 years ago. You're going to set a very bad precedent. That's what I'm afraid of, and that's what a lot of the neighbors are afraid of, okay? What benefit to the town at large is this project? I totally disagree with... May I speak for another minute and finish?
I'll let you wrap up. Try a little less than a minute, though.
I disagree stridently with my neighbor who's like in love with density in single family mixed in with commercial. Most importantly, legally, this project is a mirror image of Anna Boley's project. It's a total violation of the setback requirements. That's what Pete pointed out. Why is it 150 feet is required, but 106 feet is what exists, because that's the setbacks. The gentleman on the laptop there, I believe you were the one that kind of scorned Anna Boley's architect who represented
I'm going
him.
to ask you if you have any specific concerns for us on this project.
Yeah,
Put it
the
on this timer.
setback is a violation, okay? A major violation. I believe the parking is probably a violation too. There's not enough spots. One other thing. Yeah, it's a mirror image of Anna Boley's Watergate project. Ocean Gate, what did he call it? I forget what it was called. And also, my thought is, I would be in favor of building those 3 units, give that main house to the Historical Society. Move them over there. They need more square footage. That's something that's good for the town.
Thank you for your presentation.
Forget about the capitalization.
Magdalena Phil?
Good evening. This is ours. I just wanted to preface, first of all, thank you for letting me speak. I just want to preface, on August 16th, 2023, I stood at the other town hall, and I'm going to give you basically the same speech I gave back then. It's like rinse and repeat. My name is Magdalena Felt. I live at 64 Ocean Avenue. I am second generation Bayshore. My parents bought in Bayshore when I was very young, and I raised my family, and I live with my husband at 64 Ocean. Since moving to Bayshore, we have seen a resurgence, a renaissance in Bayshore. When I lived here, when I first moved here, we had to get the derelicts off of the streets, the homeless, whatever. But we have someone new on Ocean Avenue who's proposing another residential zoning change. This would be, for us, I think, the third time that we have to come here and fight Town Hall because of residential zoning changes. We have seen Bay Shore morph into a mecca for dining, drinking, with more of it than our share of restaurants and bars. There's an increase in popularity of tourists, vacationers, weekenders, and day trippers passing through Bay Shore on the way to the Fire Island ferries. Dinner at one of the many restaurants or just bar hoppers looking for a good time. Additionally, there has been a ridiculous exploitation of apartments in Bay Shore. I mean, everywhere you look, there's a new apartment building going up every month, it seems like. While these improvements have revived a town that was once blighted with abandoned businesses and homelessness, I will ask you all today, when is enough enough? We're very proud of our town and all the wonderful things it has to offer. We've worked hard, we pay our taxes, and deserve a town that will listen to our concerns seriously and respectfully. Since moving to Ocean Avenue, I've witnessed the changes of a quaint neighborhood with eclectic homes, a dock, a scenic view of the Great South Bay, where children rode their bicycles, skateboarding, people strolling on the streets of all ages. Now, it's just becoming commercial. Captain Bill's, an upscale restaurant initially catered to local businesses and families, has morphed into a large catering hall. In addition to the large restaurant, they have expanded where they provide 2 weddings per night. Okay, imagine that, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have traffic going up and down our streets. The scope of this business requires delivery trucks on a daily business, I hope I can finish. They require delivery trucks on a daily basis, which are racing up and down Bay Avenue, party buses, limousines, traffic backing up the street. We've also witnessed the assisted living facility, and as Peter, our neighbor, had said, they're parking in the street. They're parking under no parking signs. They park with impunity. There's no retribution for parking illegally. They park at a bus stop. People are blowing through a stop sign. I see it. And there's children standing there at a bus stop. So now you're proposing to change 23 Ocean Avenue, which has not been derelict for 20 years. There was someone living there not too long ago. They redid the whole house. They sided it.
Ms. Felt, I'm going to ask you to wrap up as...
Okay, so basically what I'm saying is, how are you going to deal with the infrastructure? The police department, the fire department, the traffic coming from YMCA to Gibson and Ocean, they're blowing through that stop sign. I'm assuming you're going to put a traffic light there. You're going to have to, or someone's going to get killed. I hope it's not a child at a bus stop. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Mark Zay.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Mark Zay. I have been for over 60 years, I've been a lifelong resident of the West Islip Bay Shore area. I now reside with my family in a single-family home at 52 Ocean Avenue, a couple doors down from the intended development site. I am against the project for a few important reasons. I do have a disagreement with the traffic study. It will increase traffic, and there already is substantial traffic on Ocean Avenue for a number of reasons, not necessarily for the development, but some of the reasons that my neighbor stated as far as the restaurants. There are a substantial number due to single-family homes of children on this street as well, too. I also have an inherent, I'm an engineer as well, distrust of these type of developments. There is substantial property behind those 3 units that could be developed as well, and there is not one word been spoken about a restriction, a hard restriction on further development, nor to what level will this site be brought up to the Historical Society's appreciation level. I also feel that, different from my colleague up the road, I am very much not in favor. I do not want to see Bayshore continue to be urbanized. I feel that it is turning into Queens, and that's not why I wanted to reside in this area or continue to reside in this area. There is another single-family home, 80 Ocean Avenue, that has been fully renovated till its glory. Maybe not 100% to its original glory, but which is not being developed. I would like to use that as a reason to not move in this direction. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Kimberly Davis?
Thank you. Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. My name is Kim Davis, and my husband and I and our 4 children live at 26 Ocean Avenue, directly across the street. And I do want to agree with my neighbors, that house has not been derelict and boarded up for decades. Because we live across the street, we know somebody was living in it within the last 10 years for a significant time doing the restorations for the previous owner. I spoke before the board 10 years ago, the last time a rezoning of 25 Ocean was proposed. And at that meeting, after the public comments had closed, I remembered the board speaking candidly, wondering whether families were even interested in buying these big old houses in the historic district. And I'm here a decade later to give you an answer. Not only at that time, 10 years ago, my husband and I had just purchased a significantly older and bigger house than number 25, but we did it knowing it needed significant structural repairs. In the years since, the question from that meeting stuck with me as we continued to do the work on our home. We watched young family after young family move onto our street. On our little block of Ocean from Gibson to Linden, 6 new families have recently moved on to the street. These families have invested in our neighborhood without changing zoning or population density. They've done the restorations, the renovations, the repairs to protect the aesthetic of the historic downtown district, and we're proud of it. This street is not obsolete. It is not underoccupied. It is alive with families, and if you visit our street, you will see our children, our neighbors, walking their dogs, jogging, riding bikes, playing basketball in their driveways, and enjoying our beautiful neighborhood. The facts speak very clearly. Single-family homes of considerable size and age continue to attract single-family buyers on Ocean Avenue. Since that last rezoning attempt failed, 25 Ocean Avenue has never been publicly listed for sale. Yet from my front porch across the street, I see and hear the steady interest. Cars slowing down to take a long look at it, curious passersby. They pull over and ask the landscapers if the owners are getting ready to put it on the market. At 26 Ocean Avenue, we've received inquiries in the mail from realtors appealing for families who are looking to buy on Ocean Avenue and hoping that we might be interested in selling our home to a single family. This isn't speculation, it's visible, ongoing evidence of genuine demand for 25 Ocean Avenue and homes like it as single-family homes on Ocean Avenue. It's also a fact that families buying single-family homes in low-density zones tend to stay longer and get more actively engaged in their communities. As more and more high-density housing sprouts up in downtown Bayshore, the continuity and long-term investment by families downtown is imperative. Bayshore has marketed itself on its downtown revival and its historic charm. Rezoning here would change the character of our neighborhood. It would drive away involved families like mine and bring in more transient residents with little incentive to invest in Bayshore's long-term future. 25 Ocean Avenue is zoned as it is for a reason, to preserve the character, safety, and livability of low-density single-family neighborhoods. If this lot is rezoned, it sends a signal that any lot on Ocean Avenue can then be converted into multi-unit housing. And before you know it, we have apartments and townhouses all the way down Watchacree Creek. As that happens, we'd be dealing with the subsequent traffic issues, safety risks, and that would create a hazard where none exists today. This board has a responsibility to uphold the zoning that preserves neighborhoods and protects residents. Ocean Avenue is a living example that single-family homes, even big old ones, remain viable, valuable, and desired by families in Bayshore. And this rezoning is not only unnecessary, it is short-sighted and damaging to the future of our neighborhood. Thank you.
Lynn Casper?
Hi, I live at 24 Ocean Avenue, directly across from 25. Their road that they have as a driveway is gonna be a road directly across from my driveway and from my house. All the headlights will be coming to my house every day, every time someone leaves, when they have visitors. That's unacceptable. I didn't sign up to be living in a crossroad area where perpendicular from something like this. Is there a C of O for this property? Was that ever addressed? I just wrote down a couple of notes, so I'm going to jump around a little bit. My family has had that house since 1970. When 26 Ocean Avenue was subdivided, they needed 3 more feet in order to subdivide the property. The owner guaranteed that nothing will happen to me. When that property was subdivided and made into 2 properties, I've had nothing but trouble from 26 Ocean Avenue claiming that they owned the end of my driveway. Now I'm having yet another driveway issue. I'm entitled to quiet enjoyment of my home. This is enough. There's going to be construction noises if they build like this. For how long? We've been having construction noises from Clinton Avenue, from all the apartments there that have just been built. Ocean Avenue gets used as a cut-through for all the apartments on Clinton Avenue. So now we're sitting there going, there's more traffic on our street. From another street, the traffic from Clinton Avenue is coming to Ocean Avenue. And then again, with Captain Bill's, all those people are now using Ocean Avenue to come down. Ocean Avenue's traffic is terrible. As somebody who's had a family member hit by a car on Ocean Avenue riding a bicycle, her life has never been the same because of traffic and drunk drivers on that street. This is terrible. This is not a quality of life. People are not riding bicycles and enjoying that neighborhood. It is not happening. People are afraid to ride their bicycles on that street. It is too much already. And not to harp on this, but when it says driveway a street, how is that right? Is there a way that you can do a car count of the traffic on Ocean Avenue, not by with their own self-interest is saying, can you put one of those strips on the street and count the traffic, and not just do it for one day? Do it for a month. See what the traffic is for a month. We're in the off-season right now, so it's going to be less because of summer traffic around there, or the ferries and everything else. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Katarzyna Tomas?
Good evening. I'm a relatively newcomer to Ocean Avenue, only 9 years, 28 Ocean Avenue. And during those years, I have seen the street change to a point where I want to move out. I have an 8-year-old son and an 11-year-old daughter, and I feel unsafe riding bicycles with them to the marina. I will not continue talking about it because my fellow neighbors talked about it, but it's an absolute disaster. I will also add to the previous speaker and say, please park a mattress on my driveway at 2 a.m. I want to see what quality of sleep are you going to have with all the cars that are driving up and down the street. The wonderful lawyer threw Clinton and Ocean Avenue together. We all know, well, maybe you don't live in Bayshore because somehow Bayshore has been thrown to wolves. I don't know why Bayshore is allowed to be developed the way it is. But Clinton is a disaster. And anyone who will tell me that it's not, it's literally lying. It's drugs, alcohol, cars flying 80 miles an hour, and now we want to compare Ocean to that? We want to make Ocean into that? People will move out. The values will go down. The lovely gentleman who wants more development for the kids and families to move in, those families can't exist on this street. I envy all of my friends who are wise enough to buy on lovely, quiet streets where kids can actually play together. My kids don't know the neighbors' kids because I can't let them out of my sight. I am afraid for my 8-year-old son to cross the street to pick up a basketball ball that falls on the street, because you don't know when the next drunk lunatic is driving on that street. Drunk, high. We have recording from a camera of cars driving 80 miles an hour. And now we're putting more development? I was literally just driving a friend to hospital, Southside. You guys will hear about it on the news, but did you see the accident that just happened on the crossroads, the bridge over right by the exit 43? A car went flying off that bridge down. So how many more cars, how many more people are we bringing? And why Bayshore? Do we just want to, I don't know, bury it to the ground? I really don't understand. And again, I'm a newcomer. And I'll say this again. 2 years ago, everybody spoke here how all these things that I didn't live there at the time, that we allowed to be developed on the street were taking a hit for town, right? Historical Society wanted bed and breakfast. Okay, fine, we'll say yes. But how much more? And I'll say this, 2 years ago when we fought in front of you against another redevelopment of the other property, they're gonna come out of the woodwork as well. Why not? If this zoning gets changed, then the next one, and the next one. And as Kim said, when is it gonna stop? Like when? And I know for a fact, through the neighbor across the street, there were offers from families on that house. But guess what? Money won, right? The best bidder, the highest bidder.
Ask you to please wrap up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did anybody come in late who did not fill out a card that wishes to be heard? Come on up, we'll take the card from you.
Hello, Board. Thank you for hearing us out. I am an even newer comer on Ocean Avenue.
Just state your name for the record, please.
Kyle Price, 95 Ocean Avenue. We purchased a home in December of last year, and I can't help but echo most of my neighbors who've already spoken, but the house and property in question was never on the market, at least because I was looking specifically in that neighborhood for a long time. And to echo further what other people were saying, I mean, a lot of these zonings that they're asking for, you know, acceptance for, were put in a place to keep the character of this town the way it is, the historical feel for it. In the second you start, you know, easing certain restrictions to allow commercial residents further and further down Ocean, it's a slippery slope. I know this board will do their best to keep, you know, that precedent from occurring, but it's just concerning. And you know, the fact they're calling the east side of Ocean Avenue a commercial block, it can't be further from the truth. It's single-family households, and that's why I moved to that block with that specific understanding. So if I'm to understand that that's no longer going to be the fact, and slowly, surely over time, people are going to keep coming to this board asking for, you know, allowances to further develop the block, it's going to push me out of it, and perhaps I won't start my family here. So I just ask the board to, you know, make sure they're not, you know, making exceptions for the wrong reason. Thank you.
Anybody else who came in late wish to be heard? Not seeing anyone, I'm going to turn to Mr. Colgan for a staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As stated by the applicant, this application proposes 3 senior townhouses on a property that is improved with a dwelling built in the early 1900s, possibly as early as 1900, according to town records. It is a Queen Anne style house that backs up to a canal. Prior to this, the property was the subject of a change of zone for the planned landmark overlay district for an assisted living residence facility back in 2016. That application was withdrawn prior to the board making a recommendation. The current proposal is to add the planned landmark preservation district as an overlay on the property, which would permit the proposed senior townhouses. The intent of the PLP is to protect, enhance, and use buildings, structures, and other objects having a special character or special historic or aesthetic interest or value. If the application is granted, the applicant could receive permission from the town board to allow the property to be used for the multifamily senior units while ceding control to the planning board over the external appearances of the building and the overall site where the PLP boundaries would extend to. There are 2 other PLP designated properties on Ocean Avenue, including the Atria Assisted Living Facility and the Ocean Bay House Bed and Breakfast. Town records indicate that the structures were constructed around 1900 and have been inventoried by the town for having historical and architectural importance. The property is within walking distance of downtown Bayshore, which is generally consideration for locating multifamily proposals. The age of this structure and the unique architectural features of it make this building worthy of preservation. However, the planning staff recommends the board reserve decision tonight to review the concerns that were raised this evening.
Thank you. Ms. Cole, can you just address, there was a question about the 150 feet versus 109 feet?
Yeah, so I believe that's likely a typo or just erroneous. The minimum lot width for a residence AA property is 100 feet, so this property complies.
And also just, I mean, not as part of today's application, but if you could take it back to traffic safety, whether or not Atria employees, one, per their approval, should be parking on the street, and whether or not there are no parking signs there, and if that could be addressed.
Yeah, we could certainly request a survey from the Division of Traffic Safety.
Mr. DeCiccio, there are, I guess, some questions. Josh, the first one may be speaking about the owner of the property, and they've recently purchased it, they currently own it, or they're in contract to own it?
Yeah, the applicant and the property owner is the same person. They purchased it in April or May.
And does the new owner plan on living in the front house, or are they plan on selling all 4, the 3 in the back and the front?
Yeah, all 4 will be sold, but all 4 will, and again, we're agreeable to a covenant limiting, all 4 structures have to be owner occupied. That's what the proposal is, not rentals.
And then I haven't looked at the site plan in terms of where the driveway comes out, in terms of, does it line up directly with the house across the street?
I'd have to look at the aerial.
Mr. Rulon? Yeah, which one?
I mean, the driveway right now is on
Turn those back, turn it back around.
the existing driveway is on the northern side of the property, and that's exactly where the proposed driveway is.
So it's going to be okay, so there's no change to that, except obviously the increased amount of cars that'll be coming out of there.
Well, I mean, again, we are reducing the amount of boat slips, and, that is, laugh or not, that is a fact.
How many boat slips are there currently, and how many are you reducing to?
10, we're reducing to 6. Again, 2 for the main house, 1 for each of the townhomes, and a guest slip. And we'll, again, agree to a covenant that those slips will not be rented, like many of them are up and down Ocean Avenue, which are, that alone is a huge traffic generator, especially from, March till November.
So the concern I have is, I mean, it's been stated tonight, is the fact that you have a residential community that, by reason, most before my time, was allowed to turn into commercial properties on the street, which changes the character of that community. It's not necessarily on the corner of Gibson or something where it's the outlying part. It's between 2 residential houses. And that's where I draw some pause and some concern, is that we allow this today for this one where we're more commercializing the property, even though it's residential units, we're allowing AA housing to turn into something that's less dense and would meet the standard under that. And then how do you stop it? I know you sort of addressed it earlier by saying this can be differentiated from other properties.
Right.
But then how do we stop changing the zone of everybody else who comes in here, who a house deteriorates or something goes wrong and they want to do the same thing? And then what does that do for those that have bought into a community thinking this is the community they're buying into? And those are my concerns with the project. You can address those now for me, and then I'll turn to the rest of the board
Right.
members.
The first part, we're not proposing to change this from residential to commercial. We're keeping this residential. There's going to be, the proposal is residential. there's at least 4 commercial uses on the property, not on the property, in the neighborhood. And as far as precedent, again, this property is unique. There's only, that I can count, about 4 other properties that would be able to support this type of application. And again, none of those homes have a derelict historical house on the property. So we are completely serving the purpose of the planned landmark preservation district. We're taking a derelict historical home and we are restoring it. And that's exactly. It's, the PLP is designed for exactly this purpose. Oh, okay. So what were the other concerns? The precedent?
Precedent setting.
Residential, I mean, we're keeping it residential.
We're just changing, obviously, from the AA to something that's a little more dense than AA.
Well, we're keeping the AA zoning, we're just putting the PLP overlay.
Which gets you the more density.
Correct.
And the other question that was asked, I'll just put out there, has the property been actively for sale for an extended period of time, or was it when it was run down, it was not on the market?
You know,
Just to
I
judge interest in
didn't
the
have any
property.
contact with the previous owner. You know, my client has owned the property for 6 months now. But when it was purchased, it's gutted, right? It's completely gutted inside. And the other point I wanted to make, they brought up an application from 2 or 3 years ago on Ocean Avenue. That was for 14 rental units. This is for 3 owner-occupied senior townhomes. Very different.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, and then Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, my concerns are along the same line as the chairman with the precedent set. And the 4 properties on the block that you're talking about are the next 4 properties down the block, right, adjacent to this.
Correct.
Going south, where anybody that let their house get derelict, run down, would have the same precedent then to come do the same exact thing. It's almost an incentive to let the property go.
Well, not necessarily, I mean, again, this is I don't know the historic significance of those homes, but if they don't have it, they're not eligible for the PLP.
Right. And my concern 100% is with the precedent. I don't think traffic is a significant difference between this and a large family in a Victorian home. You know, 3 senior couples in 3 units, I don't think it would be a significant difference. The traffic is already there. I don't think it would be that much of a difference, but the precedent is concerned. And also, on the property itself, now, what are we looking at with the buffer zones? What other relaxations are we looking for here?
Well, to the south, we maintain a 25-foot setback, so we're compliant. To the north, the driveway, I believe, is set back 5 feet off the property line. We're compliant there. As Sean said, we're compliant with the lot width, and FAR, we're also compliant.
So there's no other relaxations besides?
The only possible relaxation would be for the amount of boat slips.
Right, which is a reduction.
Which is a reduction anyway, correct.
All right, like I said, what I'm gonna wrestle with is the setting a precedent, and like I said, the next 4 properties coming down the street are the same type of properties.
Understood.
Mr. Wilson?
So looking at the actual units, the new 3 units.
Correct.
I'm looking at the diagram, but if you could just walk me through the parking for each, how many parking spots there are, how many bedrooms in each unit?
So each unit has 2 bedrooms. All right, I'm just trying so the 2 end units will each have a carport on either side where 2 cars will be able to fit in, and the middle unit will have a carport right in the middle with, again, parking for 2 cars. Then there's visitor parking all the way to the east. There's 3 stalls there, as well as a what we call a drop-off area adjacent to Watchog Creek.
Right. And in the units, the 2 bedrooms are on the 2nd floor?
2nd floor, correct.
That's somewhat unusual for senior housing, right? Usually the first thing seniors are looking for are bedrooms on the 1st floor.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some, I guess it's, it's all a preference.
Right. Okay, that's it for me. Thanks.
Mr. Rulo?
Is that you? Good evening.
Good evening.
Drop-off area, is that going to be pavement? What is that on the, right by the creek? Does it have any effect on the creek? It says drop-off area. What does that even mean?
Yeah, I think that was for the boats, if somebody wanted to. There's a guest.
Yeah, well, right, but that's, so the drop-off area is just if you're, if you're going out on your boat, you can go down there and drop off all your, beach chairs and all that stuff, as opposed to,
But it's going to be paved or just,
I don't know that we're that, it's gonna be gravel. It'll be permeable.
and what's the setback to the north? What'd you say? How many
Setback
feet?
to the north,
Yeah, but next to the driveway.
The driveway
Well,
is setback-
Next to the road thing, driveway, whatever you
the
want to
driveway
call
is
it.
set back 5 feet from the northern property line. And we're also proposing a hedge the entirety of the property line. Then to the south, we're set back 25 feet. Thirty feet to the units, 25 feet to the patios.
Okay, you're proposing any accessory stuff where that lawn thing is in the back? It looks like a big area, the lawn.
No,
It's just a
the accessory, that's all open space. The accessory structures are, right.
I
right-
understand that.
yeah.
Is there going to be anything there? I mean,
No, it's gonna be a, green space.
I don't know.
Thank you. Mr. Moriarty?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question. I'm looking at a photograph here. Looks like, I'm assuming that is the new construction? Is that one of the buildings to be going up? Or what?
I can't, see.
Well, there's been no description of it, so. I'm sorry? That's all three, but where are the carports? There's a carport there?
Can I ask you just either to speak louder so she can keep the record or say that from the microphone? If you want to take that picture with you and hold it up as you're speaking, take it with you. But just so we have a thorough record.
Ron Volano, architect. So this is all 3 units, center unit, left, right, and there's carports, no garages. Carports for the end units are on each end, and the center unit obviously has the carport in the front.
And the carports will hold what? 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars?
2 cars.
2 cars.
Yeah,
Okay.
2 cars, 2 cars, 2 cars.
So that's the actual rendering of what the
Correct.
building the new construction will look like?
Correct.
Okay.
It's going to be lower, smaller, lower than the existing building. It will be behind it, and it will be heavily landscaped at all sides, all 4 sides. If you can see at the site plan,
Again, I'm just going to ask you, she's keeping a record, if you could repeat that from the microphone.
so at all 4 sides, it's full height hedge. Yeah. Thanks. If you like. Yeah, thank you.
You want to describe what you were saying?
Yeah, so again, if you look here, here's full height hedge here, so when you're coming in, you don't see this. It gives them privacy too from these different spaces, so this being still its own thing. And again, these will be lower height too. These won't be as high as this. This is 2.5 story, almost like an active attic.
Ms. Cruz, then Mr. Robinson.
I was questioning the visitor parking.
How many are required for something like this? Because I only see 3, but if you have, visitors for each and every unit, I would assume that you had more, so I'd like to know how many stalls are required for that.
Well, we do have 3 visitor parking. We meet the requirements, and, there is ample other, portions of the property that could accommodate overflow parking if need be. I mean, you can park behind the carports. There's a double wide, double deep driveway behind each of the end units. So, I mean, technically you could probably fit at least 4 cars on either of the end units, 2 cars in the middle, and then the 3 visitors. And then we have that whole drop-off area where you could maintain overflow parking, but we don't anticipate that will be necessary.
And what do you consider seniors?
Seniors is 55 and over.
Mr. Robinson and Mr. Moriarty. Nope. Okay. He got you covered, Mr. Moriarty?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a further question. One of the issues that was raised by a neighbor is the question about further development on the property, and there's a fairly significant amount of open space behind the construction.
We would
that's going-
agree to, another covenant limiting any further development.
Yeah, basically prohibiting any further development.
Correct.
Beyond what's currently being proposed.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. DeCiccio, where do those 3 units line up with the house on the property to the south of it, this house in the back?
Repeat that?
The property to the south of the subject property.
Yeah.
The 3 units that you're constructing, that you're proposing to construct, where do they line up with the house that's on the property next door?
So the property next door to the south actually has like either it's an accessory dwelling.
Right. Where does it line up to that?
It would line up to that. Yes,
Line
it would be
to it.
behind the main house.
Line up against that. Okay, thank you. Mr. Colgan, there was a question earlier about what a certificate of appropriateness is. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so within the planned landmark preservation district, any external change to any of the structures, the landscaping, that requires approval from this board, and that's what's called the certificate of appropriateness. So if they need to change the windows, the chimneys, the siding, that would require a public hearing before this board, and they would need this board's approval to make any of those exterior changes.
Thank you. Are there further questions from the board? Would the applicant like to add anything further?
Nothing further.
Is there a motion from the board? Mr. Brown.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we close the public hearing and reserve decision tonight. So we have a lot of questions and everything that we'll probably, Mr. DeCiccio will probably send some more questions your way.
Okay.
And hopefully, we'll see what the answers are.
Thank you. There's a motion by Mr. Brown to close the public hearing and reserve decision. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Robinson. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? The application is reserved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, site plan modification decision item, Brett Flotter, SP 2024-063, northeast corner of Sunrise Highway, State Route 27 in Kane Street, West Islip, 135 Sunrise Highway. Applicant requests a parking relaxation in connection with the change of use from an existing child care facility to an animal hospital. Is the applicant here?
No applicant, Mr. Chairman.
Gonzalez, do you want to go forward with the report?
Thank you. This almost 10-acre property, zoned Business 3, is currently improved with a multi-tenant shopping center consisting of 3 buildings. The southwest building is McDonald's. The southeast is a Northwell Health. The main 2-story commercial building to the north of the subject lot is a mix of retail, gym, and personal service uses. The application before the board tonight is for a change of use from the existing daycare center to a medical and office use. Unit E1 and E2 are currently used as a 13,500 square foot child care facility right now. The space will be divided into those 2 spaces with about 8,800 square feet for the animal hospital, and the remaining 4,700 square feet will be a separate office space, which will remain vacant until that tenant is brought in. The lot provides 637 parking stalls, which include 65 land bank stalls. With the proposed change of use, 707 stalls are required, resulting in a relaxation just under 10%. The applicant has stated that while the animal hospital employs a staff of 40, at no time will the number of on-site employees exceed 30. A traffic study was conducted by the applicant's team and found that the parking lot is operating at only a 32% occupancy at peak times on both weekdays and weekends, leaving more than ample parking available. So based on the above, staff recommends the board grant the application subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Gonzalez? Tana, do you know which veterinary office is moving in there by chance?
I do not have the name, but it is one that's currently in operation within the township, so it's not a brand-new one. One will be relocating to this
In
location.
my opinion, I'm hoping it's the one next to the car dealership, because that's created a problem for them. If there are no questions from the board, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Brown?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion to grant the application based on Mr. Gonzalez's staff report.
Motion to grant the application, subject to have any CNRs. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Moriarty. All in favor? Opposed, abstentions, the application is granted. Is there a motion to adjourn? By Mr. Moriarty, second by Ms. Cruz. All in favor, opposed, we are adjourned. Thank you.